Welcome to my channel, The King Lee Way. My name is King, and today I am here in Cebu, Philippines. And my title today is, what is a Kopino or a Kopinos? So let me break this down. So, since my channel is the King Lee Way, I usually talk about content that affects me currently. So for right now, Kopino. A Kopino is a half Korean and a half Filipino. And if some of you that follow me on this channel, you're like wondering, why are you bringing this up, King? Well, because it's been an interesting story that I've heard, and I've heard something about Kopinos when I was in Korea. I remember seeing a small article about Korean men going to the Philippines and impregnating Filipinas. And what happens is, since majority of the Filipinos is Catholic, they don't believe in abortion or abandoning a child, they are stuck raising that Kopino by themselves, where most of the Korean men went back to Korea and abandoned them. So, as I was looking on to Wikipedia about the definition about the Kopino and the situation, it stated back in 2003 there were 1,000 Kopinos abandoned. No father, and the mother has to fend for herself to raise that child. Then, from 2008, it has increased up to 10,000 Kopinos. And today, I'm here, it's 2019 of December. It's actually still December 15th. That number has risen up to 30,000 plus for the Kopinos here. And these numbers are staggering. It is just getting worse and worse. And here's another thing. How come there's almost 30,000 Kopinos? Well, Philippines is a huge tourist destination for Koreans, mostly, and let me iterate, South Koreans. They come to the Philippines. They, are here as tourists, here on vacation, opening in businesses. So in my other video, I talk about why is there so many Koreans here. And as I keep seeing story after story after story, So one article from Neck Shark, and this was an article back in almost 2 years ago, December 8, 2017. So Korean sexpaths go to the Philippines to get women pregnant and leave behind Kopino children. So, and I started to think about that. But of course, I was sitting here just wandering around Cebu, Philippines. And of course, I was thinking, okay, since there's an article about, there's a lot of half Korean, half Filipino kids, because I've been to Ayala Mall, I've been to SM City Mall, Seaside, IT Park, even up to Luhug, I haven't seen one Kopino kid yet. And I was like, is the article just full of it? But what I did do is to read more into it, because most Kopino kids will not be in the areas I'm in. They're going to be actually in the provinces, really hidden away. And plus, for Kopinos, they're probably taking a lot of ridicule. They're probably being bullied for being half Korean, half Filipino. And, it's already a hard life for them. And all these Filipina mothers want is their fathers to take responsibility and give their child a better life. So it's now very common. It's gotten worse, and there's always a stigma. And, for me, I'm probably one of the rare Koreans in Cebu because I'm a Korean American. I'm a second generation Korean American that holds a U.S. passport. I actually haven't run into barely any Korean Americans in here. Everyone is straight up a native Korean here in Cebu. I mean, if I run into another fellow, in term we call it the Gilpo, I'll be like, wow, finally got another Gilpo in here. But it is just staggering. And usually what happens is, here's some situations. Because most Koreans come here, especially the younger Koreans, they're coming here to learn English. Because why? It's cheaper to learn English in the Philippines. And then, so there's a number of them that might have dated Filipinos when they're here and might impregnate them, and then they head back to their life in Korea. Or then there's the sexpat. Had sex with a Filipina, got them pregnant, and just took off. And then there's some instances where actually a Korean guy actually marries the Filipina, has a child with the Filipina, and then for some reason he has to go back to Korea, and then he never came back. Or a crazy scenario could be he was married the whole time or something. So there's a lot of variations and reasons what's going on, with the situations. So I want to kind of talk about some of the articles. There's a couple instances. So like one Filipino woman here, she was 23 years old. She met a South Korean man in Makati on a blind date. So she says, yeah, she encounters love at first sight. So she dated that South Korean man. And then she learned out that he was married and had children of their own. And then she decided to call it quits. But unfortunately, after she broke up with that man, she was pregnant with that man. And then, of course, the man stayed for a while to say, yeah, I'll take responsibility for it. But he did vanish. Of course, the term we keep hearing is, don't worry, I'm here for you. I won't leave you. And then, boom, gone. Back to Korea. And, of course, most Filipinos can't go into Korea and go chase that father down because Korea is very strict on the visa. So that was one instant. So yeah. And then there was another instant, a 27-year-old Filipina. And this Korean man used a dating app and met this woman on one of those apps in the province of Cebu. And, he said, hey, I like you, I want to marry you. So he was very nice. And then he said, let's get together. So they got together, and then he got her pregnant, and he was happy. And then he said, yeah, I'll take care of this. And then guess what? He took off back to Korea. He hasn't come back. And she tried to contact him. Can't get hold of him. So it's a common thing here. So everything has gone downhill. And what happened in that situation, the guy was married. And the wife found out about the affair. And what usually would happen is usually in this situation, the Korean wife ain't going to divorce him. So she just says, hey, we keep this a secret within the family. Because if you know anything about how Korean society and culture is, it's very frowned upon. So they always keep things quiet and a secret. So they don't want to lose face. Confucianism, it's Korea for you. So that was an issue right there. So yeah, it's really crazy. And then since now, these babies, these Kopinos are now Korean nationals, it's under Article 2 where, what is South Korean nationality is, quote here, a person whose mother or father is a national of the Republic of Korea at the time of the person's birth shall be a national of the Republic of Korea. So I do believe that's a correct article because I was born in America and my own father had to register me in the family registry. But, most of these Korean men that impregnate these Filipinas, they never registered them. They didn't care to register them because they're supposed to register that child as a Korean national. So just FYI for you Filipinas that, are married to Korean men and you have a kid with them, he's supposed to register, and I would get him to register his name so then, anything happens that child can, have that life in Korea that, you want for that child. And of course, I'm not an attorney. I don't know a lot of the Korean laws. So there's even certain things about certain inheritances, but I'm not going to get into it because I am not an attorney and I'm not going to give advice about that because I don't have a whole lot of information and I am not an expert on that. So it's better to consult somebody in law to maybe break that down to you. So yeah. So basically, where are a lot of these Kopinos? A lot of them are probably in the provinces. And just, of course, there was talk where, Korea government was trying to take care of this problem where, there should be some money and support, but because they're not registered into the family registry, there's no way to determine them. So the Korean government doesn't give any support for these Kopinos. So those are the situations going on. And of course, what happened to try to help some of these Kopinos, one guy, Korean guy, tried to put a profile of the fathers where they try to help the Kopino kids identify is that their father or not. And then what happened is, because in Korean law, you're not supposed to talk about people's names or privacy because you can get sued for defamation in Korea. That's why, when we talk, for example, when I'm an English teacher, when we talk about a certain hagwon or academy, we don't say the name because there's a fear of that retribution for being sued. So that was an issue for privacy issues. Another thing is, Korean government talking about bringing justice for these, Korean fathers to take responsibility, but nothing's really happened. I think out of 30,000, maybe one wonder case out of 30,000. I remember reading that article that she was awarded some funds, but I don't know if she's actually received any of those funds. So that's another thing. And so in Manila, in Quezon City, there is actually a shelter for Kopinos. And I was just looking that up earlier in Google. So, and that shelter is run by a Korean man married to a Filipina. And they shelter a lot of Kopinos in that place to, give them some help. So it's really hard. That's probably the only shelter. I thought maybe Cebu would have one, but I've not heard about one in Cebu, because it would have been nice if there was one in Cebu. I would have liked to maybe go visit and see, how things are. And if I ever go by Manila, I would like to visit that shelter one day and spend some time there. So, but yeah, those are the situations that are going on. The numbers have increased tenfold. So there is 30,000 plus, and I kind of now have a little understanding why sometimes when I talk to Filipinos, there is a little weariness about Korean guys, a certain general reputation. And so I kind of like, think about it. I don't think it's like the full reputation just because of the Kopino children. There's other variations. So it just made me think a lot about, what's going on. And, I hope, that these men would take the responsibility for these Kopino children. Is it going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. But, hopefully things will get better. But there's a long, long way to go. And another thing is, since this is one big issue, because I know this because I was in Korea hearing about this, but of course, Korea is paying more attention to Koreans getting killed, tourists getting killed, and they say, yep, a Filipino killed them. But when I read between the lines on some of these articles, I don't think the Filipino planned and premeditated this murder on a Korean. It's a possibility that a Korean did it to a Korean. A Korean might have hired that Filipino to kill that Korean if they're business partners or trying to take over a corporation or anything. So that's sometimes kind of a thing. Or maybe that Korean was such a you-know-what to a Filipino worker or something. Maybe it's retaliation. That would be the only reason if, Filipino would shoot a Korean in that situation, So, yeah. But, yeah, so lately, yeah, some things just keep me up because I, am here in Cebu. I'm really enjoying the city and the country, the culture. And of course, I am surrounded myself with a lot of Koreans are here. So, yeah. So it's a little eye-opening when I started to stay up at night and, study a little bit about Kopinos. I still got a lot to learn to see what else is out there, because there's not a lot of articles in Google, but it's known. And this news has been spread, pretty much worldwide. So, and I've learned about this, like I said earlier, when I was in South Korea. So, yeah, so we'll have to see what happens. And I hope, some of these children start getting the help from their Korean fathers, or figure out, who their father is and see if they can get any rights to be admitted as South Korean nationals. So there you go. So if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please comment some things that I might have missed, and let's just keep it a positive discussion, and subscribe to my channel for future videos. So wherever you are, I want to wish everybody a good day and a good night. Take care. Bye.